In yesterday's video, I talked about how whatever story you publish first is going to be new to your audience. That you could have written 10 prior, say, short stories that all deal with the same ideas, same topic, same theme. You could have even copy and paste, passages out of some of your old text to make this one story that gets published, and the world's never going to know. It's only new and novel once it's out there, and when it is, the stuff that you did before gets forgotten. Or I shouldn't say forgotten, it's no one even knows it existed. It's a good feeling. It's a very humbling thing, but it's also a good feeling to know that you can get a lot of failures and people will only ever see the success, right? The one that gets published. That's what people are only ever going to see. It's only if you do something like myself here, where you kind of vlog the process and you show everybody in real time, hey, the rejections and the failures, and you kind of go over the projects you're working on at least a little bit, and you kind of see a lot of that rejection, which is the main reason I created this channel, or at least one of them. I want people to see the process. I want people that have been doing this maybe for even several years, kind of like myself when I started this, to see, hey, this is what it's going to be like. Because you can be told countless times that, hey, this process is full of rejection. You got to keep pushing forward and all that stuff. But it's another thing to witness it, I think, in real time, to actually follow along and go along this pathway, and actually see, oh, wow, it's not just like a theoretical thing. It's not just that logically I know I'm going to get rejection. It's, wow, look at this guy, actually witness it. And there's an emotional understanding at that point, I think, that comes from that, or at least that's what I hope. But it's important to understand, too, that it's not an even ratio of wins to losses in terms of importance. It's not that if you get a win, it somehow makes up for one loss only. They're weighted very, very differently. One win makes up for a lot of losses. This is true of really any kind of endeavor you go after, business, whatever it might be. One win counts for a lot of losses, and that's probably the most important thing to keep in mind in this process. If you get even one short story published, that is going to be worth a lot in comparison to kind of what you gave up. Not just emotionally, not just in terms of satisfaction, but doors can begin to open in certain areas, right? You start looking a little bit better to, say, agents if you're going down the literary process. Perhaps you're looking to get maybe kind of a career in line with your writing. So perhaps if you want to be, say, an editor or something like that, publications, like getting short stories, a couple of short stories published, right, adds a lot of weight, adds some credibility to you. Teaching jobs, if you're looking to teach maybe as like an adjunct or something like that, publications can be big, in addition to obviously getting the education and all that. So just getting a story published might be viewed as singly as one win, but the weight carries far more than just making up for, say, one story that didn't get published. It carries far, 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 far more weight. And so keep that in mind. This is a game that does give you a lot of sorry if I'm trying to think of the right word. But this is a game where the wins might be few, but they make up for a lot of it. And it's true also when you just look at it from the outside, right? If one was to ever look at this from a very strict, utilitarian viewpoint, or just someone that views things very black and white, well, yeah, you're going to get way more losses than you get wins. no one would ever go after this process. But even knowing that you're going to have more losses than wins, we go after it because we've seen it with other people that those wins do count more. Those wins do add up more. All of the few good days and the few awesome days that you have in this process are worth all of the bad ones combined. At least I hope it is for many people. And for a lot of people, a lot of writers that get successfully talk about that, right? They say, I would do it all again, go through all the suffering and all the pain again just to get back to this where I am now. And so keep that in mind. It's not equally weighted. Success, as much as we kind of experience in terms of volume, a lot of rejection and a lot of failure, the success makes up for that eventually.